What is going on, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Prime Sports World, presenting you the start of the season to the college football season. College Football Showdown is back, ladies and gentlemen. Here I am, your host, Israel Rivera, your weekly host for the rest of the season for all your college football content, along with Christian Sister from the Daily Blitz.blog and Matt James. Somebody got a lot of background noise back there. I don't know who that is.
Yeah,
but
man,
anyways,
that's me. Yeah, that's me, man.
That's Christian. Hey, he's bringing the rugged raw from NYC, bringing all of that city vibrance to the show tonight. Anyways, man, it's glad to be back talking college football with you guys.
Man, it's been so long. Izzy, the last time we were talking about something college football wise, we were preparing for a national championship, which would end up being Kalen DeBoer's final game with the Washington Huskies and Jim Harbaugh's final game with the Michigan Wolverines. We got a brand new season, and to be completely honest with you, I think the landscape of the sport, it's going to see significant changes this year. Teams realigning from conference to another conference. So I think this is going to be the most intriguing season we've had from a college football standpoint. I don't know about you guys, you and Matt, but I'm looking forward to it.
It's
going to be
playoff.
Another exciting season. I mean, the 12-game playoff. I mean, everyone's been begging for that ever since the playoff. It's been coming to line, and we finally get to see how that plays out this season. So it should shake up things a little bit towards the end of the season, and it'll be exciting.
Absolutely, man. The 12-team playoff is definitely something that everybody's excited for. Just going based off of, what we're probably going to talk about next, like Florida State lost to Georgia Tech. Your one-loss teams, you don't have to go fully undefeated. Your one loss isn't really going to hurt you too much, when it comes to the college football playoff, because you can still get in, especially if you're a Power 5 conference. We're really Power 4, really, because there's no Pac-12. But, if you win the ACC, Big 10, Big 12, and the SEC, I mean, you're in, locking yourself a spot. And then you have your eight bids in there. So it's gonna be exciting for the rest of this season, moving forward. A couple things to start off, man. A great start to the season. FSU, they dropped the stunner to Georgia Tech in Dublin, 24-21. Thoughts on that game last week? It's pretty much week 0. This week is pretty much the start of the college football season. In terms of week 1. But thoughts on that Georgia Tech W as they won it with time expiring, kicking the field goal on neutral grounds overseas against Florida State.
Honestly, I put this loss for Florida State on Mike Norvell, Izzy and Matt, and the reason why is because he didn't utilize his quarterback to his capabilities. He tried to turn DJ Uiagalelei into what we call a game manager, and he's never been that at any moment during his collegiate career. Let the young man spin the football down the field. Give Georgia Tech all the credit. That coach had his young men ready to play, and man, what a way to open the season. I mean, a stunner. You beat the number 10 ranked team in the country. What more could you ask for? This is the beauty that we call college football.
Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm not surprised that this happened, to be honest. I mean, it's not easy having to go overseas, especially first game, right out of the bat. I mean, doesn't matter where you're ranked and who you're playing. I mean, you're traveling overseas to play this game. And going back to your point with utilizing DJU there, I'm kind of surprised that Norvell's not allowing him just to be him. I mean, he's, had some pretty decent quarterbacks. I remember in the past with, being with ASU and allowing them, to put points on the board. Just let the kid play. I mean, go out there and let him sling the ball, let him play his game.
Yeah, absolutely. I do agree. I think when you look at that game, I think it's a trap game, right? Florida State's trying to utilize all of their weapons that they have. They have, great, running back weapons. I think Philly, if I'm pronouncing his name right. He's a guy, they got a slew of wide receivers that can pretty much break it open. But I do agree with Christian's point. You got to let DJ, get off in the run game on the read option game. You got to let him spin it down the field a little bit more, especially against Georgia Tech. I know Georgia Tech is probably a little bit better than what we give him credit for, but I think Florida State dropping that game to Georgia Tech it's not as big as we think because it's an early loss, but it's an ACC loss, right? So Florida State is pretty much Clemson. Those are teams that are Florida State is still probably the favorite in my opinion to win the ACC. Um, and so when you look at the one loss, it's to an ACC opponent, which can hurt them down the stretch in the season. But am I worried about them not making the college football playoff? No, not at all. I think FSU will make the college football playoff. Now, if they drop two games here this season, now you can start kissing that goodbye. So that's that. Next headline, we got Arkansas hanging 70 on Arkansas Pine Bluff. Pretty much nothing to really, kind of go over. I just thought that this was interesting. Obviously Arkansas Pine Bluff is nowhere on the same realm of Arkansas. But one thing I will say is that, this Arkansas team is gearing up to be one of the better teams. They might be a sleeper in the SEC. 687 total yards to hang 70 on the D1 on a low level program though. I mean, it's still impressive. And while also only giving up 130 yards. Tayshawn Green, he's looking like a budding star. Or Taylor Green, I'm sorry, not Tayshawn. Taylor Green looking like a budding star at Arkansas. And I mean, another big quarterback that can move. Right, Christian? For
Yes,
Arkansas.
sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And I think you to me, you hit the nail right in the coffin. Is it because Arkansas, they're going to be a fun team this year. They're balanced, and most importantly, I think they have one of the more underrated coaches in the country. It's Sam Pittman. They can play defense. They can run up and down the field, so they can make games attract me, and most importantly, they can turn games into what we call a street fight. When you got to get ugly, when you got to run the ball, when you gotta play stingy physical defense. So they're gonna be a team to look out for. And this is a group that no one's necessarily talking about.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I said, man, with KJ Jefferson, moving off to UCF, this kid Taylor Green might just be, just feeling right in their footsteps. So I do agree, man. Like Sam Pittman, got this team humming. What a great win. 70 to put 70 on an opponent is no easy feat. Depending on who it is,
Right.
who cares who it is? It's still 70 points. So yeah, that hell of a feat. And then the last storyline we have is yesterday, as Colorado prevailed against North Dakota State, 31-26. What a hell of a game! I think we all saw that Shedeur Sanders is probably the best quarterback in college football, and Travis Hunter is probably the best all-around football player in
the
college
country.
football
Yep.
in the country, as he did it on both ends of the game. I mean, they rarely threw it towards his side, and he was abusing. I forget who the cornerback was. I think his name was Duffy or McDuffie last night, but he was literally. I mean, he had some eye opener plays. Shedeur Sanders threw for 445 yards, 4 touchdowns. Should have had no interceptions. And one interception at the goal line was a freak, kind of play. Jimmy Horn had 198 yards and a touchdown. Those two are his favorite targets. And then he's got two other weapons. at his disposal. He's got the transfer from Vanderbilt, and he's also he's got the transfer from Vanderbilt and Will Shepard. He's got LeJontay Western from FAU, who caught over 100 balls with 1,000 yards last year. And once those guys start getting into form with Colorado, I think it'll be a potent passing attack. But I do have some questions on the other side, right? The defense isn't that great still, especially in the trenches. And I think the offensive line just cannot run the football. They can't get a push. So,
No, no,
I
they
start
can't.
with I start
Uh-huh.
with you. Go ahead, Christian.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. And I'm still kind of concerned about that offensive line because I just saw too many opportunities where it just seemed like they allowed Shador to get hit. You see what I'm saying? And then, number two, defensively, look, I'm just going to be blunt here with the both of you. They couldn't stop a running faucet. Let's just call it what it is. I'm
They
concerned.
couldn't stop the
I
water
really am.
faucet. Matt, jump in a little bit. What do you think?
Yeah,
What do you think about the performance yesterday from
I
Colorado?
thought overall, I mean, it was a great matchup. I
Right.
mean, North Dakota State's going to bring it, and they've proven it time and time again. They don't care who your matchup is, what conference division, whatever. And Colorado's, I mean, they've shown their weaknesses again throughout the game last night, where they need to learn how to run the ball and start faster on defense, or they could get into some trouble again with tougher opponents in the Big 12 later on in the season. So that's something they need to
Yeah,
shore up.
and
I
see,
mean, Fedor and what's his name? Well, Fudge. Um, they can hook up all they
Travis
want
Hunter. Yeah, Shador Travis Hunter, who had 3 touchdowns,
for
and he had
40 plus
probably
points a game.
the
But if
catch of the
you're going to
year.
give up 50 points, I mean, because your defense isn't
Well,
stopping anybody the first half, you're going to have
my
problems.
my concern with Colorado is just the fact that they can't run the football still.
Travis
Last year they
Hunter.
couldn't.
That's what I want to
Yeah,
say.
right,
yeah. Well,
right.
Yeah.
last year they couldn't run the football. This year it looks like they can't run the football against North Dakota State. Who North Dakota State? Let's not like 9 national championships in FCS. I mean, this is one of the best. I mean, this team. I was saying it yesterday. This team could go to a plethora of conferences in the FBS. They can go to like the American. They can go to the MAC. They can go to any Sun Belt, any conference other
Pac-12
than like the Power Four. No, they good.
with
They go to
Oregon
any.
State and Wazoo, build that back up.
Well,
Stay out
no. I
west.
mean, no. Forget that. Forget that. That conference is dead. But like outside of like the four major conferences, like they would go into any conference like American, Conference USA, Sun Belt, MAC, anything, and they would dominate. In my opinion, that
Yeah.
team would go. That program would go into any of those conferences outside of the Big Four and dominate, in my opinion. So this is a good win for Colorado, in my opinion, because you beat your team that won the last 6 out of 7 against FBS opponents, right? So North Dakota State came in and they was coming in on business, right? This is what they do. They beat FBS opponents, and then they take that in momentum and they take it into the FCS season and they national championships. But my thing is as they get into the Big 12, they're gonna face 5 ranked opponents, possibly 6 with Nebraska coming up in the Big 12. You're gonna have to be able to run the football, but they're in the right conference, right? Because I think if you can't play defense, you're gonna have to win in the track meet. And what's the best conference to win in the track meet in? The Big 12.
Big 12.
Just
Big
Yep.
saying.
12. Without question.
So
Without question. I couldn't agree with you anymore, Izzy. But there's some things that they have to do. They got to tighten some things up. They got to attempt to run the football because you and I were talking during the game yesterday, and what did we say? They're in the red zone. They're in a short yardage situation, and Shador's out in the shotgun. Like, nah, man up, build some muscle, bulk up, and run the damn football.
yeah, I totally agree. I know Charlie Offerdall is like the more of like secure. Like I think Dion and Pat Shermer, they I think they believe they like what I want to say, they believe in him or they're more comfortable with him in the offense because he's been there. He's kind of short-handed a little bit, but at the same time, I would like to see them use Dallin Hayden a little bit from Ohio State, transfer from Ohio State. And I mean, this offensive line is supposed to be improved, right? They brought in, and Colorado is it's a weird era, right, of college football, right? Especially with the transfer portal, it's hard to really build a program up when they're down in the dumps like Colorado is, right? Where Colorado was, right? And so you bring in 41 transfers, but you let go like 60 or something like that. So the turnover rate on the roster is crazy. And so it's hard as opposed in the past where it's like Dion, if he, came in here 10, 15 years ago without the transfer portal, without the NIL, all that other stuff, he wouldn't get like 5-star guys because of the NIL, but he may have a chance. But at the same time, though, he has a better shot at building a program because guys aren't leaving as rapidly every season. He's not having a turnover. He's going to have 2, 3, 4 guys, 2, 3 got a whole roster staying at least 3 year seasons with him and his system, able to grow into a potential perennial powerhouse. But I do think that when you have a quarterback like Shedeur Sanders and you have weapons like that on, in the passing game offensively, you always have a shot, especially in the Big 12. So, we'll see. TBD. They got some things to cover up. I mean, yesterday, even on the Hail Mary pass, Travis Hunter's telling his guys, just knock it down. Just knock it down. They didn't even knock it down. And North Dakota State still caught that ball by the 10-yard line. So imagine if North Dakota State's quarterback Cam Miller, was able to get that ball to the end zone, North Dakota State probably would have won that football game. And then I don't get and then the offense. I mean, you got the first down. They got one timeout left. Why are you throwing it on first down? Why aren't you kneeling it? Why aren't you running it? You know what I mean? So it's not just the players, it's the collection of everybody still kind of learning everything. But yeah, I don't think you throw the football on first down. You almost gave North Dakota State a chance to possibly get one in the end zone and win. So we've seen stranger things in college football before. I think that was just like, if North Dakota State wins, I mean, godly, I mean, Deion, we're talking about we're singing a different tune about Deion Sanders. I mean, they're not gonna just get rid of Deion because of all the money he's brought in, but it's like at some point we have to have higher expectations of this. You know what I mean? We can't be losing to North Dakota State, even though they're a great team, in my opinion. So, anyways, moving forward, as we got a special time of the season. I didn't get to do an episode with our All-Americans here, but I have some Prime Sports World All-Americans, and this is our All-American team for this season. At quarterback, I got Shedeur Sanders. He's the best quarterback in the nation, hands down. I don't care about Quinn Ewers. I don't care about Carson Beck. I don't care about Drew Aller. This kid is the best quarterback, hands down. There's nothing else to say. The way he could spin it, his accuracy, his pocket presence, his ability to get it downfield, his IQ, his everything. I mean, and the fact that, hey, he can use his legs. He's just not trying to. Shedeur Sanders is the best quarterback in the nation. And then at running back, we got Ali Gordon, Oklahoma State, Omarion Hampton from UNC. Our 2 wide receivers. And you know what? You could possibly throw Travis Hunter in there as well, but I think the 2 best full-time pure wide receivers, even though Travis Hunter is a full-time wide receiver technically, is Luther Burden from Mizzou, Tataro McMillan from Arizona. I really love Tataro McMillan. I think he's going to be a hell of a player. I think both of those guys are going to be hell of a players at the next level. And then tight end, you got Colston Loveland. And then at O-line, Will Campbell, tackle Will Campbell, LSU, and Kelvin Banks, both left tackles, both probably the best left tackles in the game. Tate Rutledge and Jaden Roberts, the best interior lineman, I think, in the nation. And then Jonah Monham out of USC. The kid from Alabama also is pretty good, too. And then the place here, Graham Nicholson out of Alabama. Matt, your thoughts on the first team offense here?
I mean, there's really no arguments. I mean, you did add the fact that Travis Hunter and stuff. So, I mean, Travion Henderson out of Ohio State. I mean, and Egbuka out of Ohio State. A couple other guys. Uh, you can put on the outside looking in. Um, the center from Alabama, Brailsford. I mean, he's a
Yeah,
solid
Brailsford
kid
is a
right in there.
solid
That it's right
yeah.
there with Monham from USC. So overall, I mean, no disagreeing. I mean, there's a lot of good potential out there for first and second team on offense.
No, absolutely, absolutely, and there's a lot of guys that are probably looked over on. Like you said, you brought up Emeka Ugbuka as a wide receiver. Any of those Ohio State guys, I think Luther Burden is fantastic. I mean, yeah, we could put
Oh yeah,
Emeka Ugbuka up there as well, but I just think Luther Burden got a little bit more there. You can also talk about the kid from Tennessee, Cooper Mays, who's
Mhm.
probably been the best center, in college football as well. You put him up there as well at the center position for me as well.
I mean,
And
there's a couple of kids out of Oregon receiver. I mean, you got all sorts of guys you
yeah,
can put up in there. So quarterback wise too, but I mean, Shador Sanders
yeah,
showed it last night. I mean, go out and prove it. I mean, tomorrow Georgia's got Clemson, so see how Carson Beck does against a usually stellar defense from Dabo's squad early on tomorrow. That'll be a great one. So
yeah,
see how Carson
yeah. I
Beck
mean,
handles that right out the gate.
yeah, I mean, when you talk about quarterbacks, I mean, like Dylan Gabriel out of Oregon, like you just mentioned,
Yep.
he's a guy that I mean, is gonna have put up numbers at Oregon. The problem is that I don't like transfers that only spend one season at a school. And I think that there's only rare guys like that, and like Cam Newton's in that realm. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
rare guys where it's like a transfer, and he's like a Heisman Trophy candidate or he's an All American. So I think obviously, man, from what I saw last night, Shador Sanders is the best quarterback in the nation. And then like when you talk about wide receivers, yeah, I mean like we said, you can't go wrong with Luther Burden, Tataro McMillan. You can't go
Yeah.
wrong with Emeka Ugbuka, the kid from Colorado State, who I think is going to be a decent kid. Hold on one second here. But yeah, no, there's there's a lot of guys that we could put in the All American list that may fall in the All American. They're probably second, third team All Americans. On the defensive side, yeah, and with starting with the D line, Mason Graham out of Michigan, James Pierce out of Tennessee, Tyleek Williams out of Ohio State, and Ashton Gillette, the other right end out of
Mm.
Louisville. Man, all four of those guys make the first team defense for Prime Sports World. And then at linebacker, we got Mykyle Williams out of Georgia, Harold Perkins out of LSU, and then Danny Stutzman out of Oklahoma, who, by the way, had paid a great tribute to his walk-ons by giving them 50K of his NIL money. So I got to give him, big props for that, for taking care of his guys. And then in the defensive backfield, we got Will Johnson out of Michigan. We're gonna start with the three best. In my opinion, these guys are the three best. I mean, it's so hard. DB is so deep in this class. You know what I mean? Because like when it comes down to like Malachi, so who's the best safety, right? You got Xavier, the kid out of Notre Dame. You got, but I think Will Johnson out of Michigan, Travis Hunter, Ben Morrison out of Notre Dame, and Malachi Starks are out of Georgia are probably the best DBs in my opinion. Christian, your thoughts on that?
No, and I'm really high. I'm already to that LSU defense. Another former LSU Tiger and Evan White, who now for the Philadelphia Eagles. And I'm just that instinct quarterback open home student defense is something that you really gotta know on the but the defensive Johnson. Come on now, like that one. Like he is the best all-around football player in college football, and I can see the closest thing to a guy can do it on both sides of the ball and impact as well. You ever see the player
Yeah, no,
like with Travis closest thing.
yeah, we lose. Yeah,
Uh,
hey Christian, we losing you a little bit. If you could reconnect a little bit, we losing you a little bit there. But yeah, no,
All right, cool.
yeah, we losing. Yeah, if you want to come back in or whatever. But yeah, no, man. I think out of the DBs, man. I think out of the DBs, like I said, man, you got Xavier Watts. I mean, you got three guys, safeties that are probably going to be first round picks this year. The DB class is so deep this year. I mean, it's crazy. Travis Hunter, Will Johnson, Ben Morrison. Then at safety, you got Malachi Starks. You got Caleb Downs from Ohio State. You got Xavier Watts from Notre Dame. Those are just 4 or 5 guys that I could think of. You got the kid Muhammad out of Oregon. I mean, you got a lot of guys, man. Malachi Moore out of Alabama. I mean, you got a lot of guys at the DB position. And then at linebacker, I mean, I left off the kid from Iowa. Name's mistaken me. Hold on, I'll bring it
Nick
up.
Jackson?
No. The kid from Iowa, his name is
Jackson, right?
No. It's Jay Higgins.
Higgins. Okay.
Iowa. Yeah, I don't have him as middle linebacker. He's probably second team.
Jay Higgins, yeah.
When I think of the linebackers, the best linebackers I think in the nation, I think these three take the cake in my opinion in terms of athleticism, side to side. I think they have the best pro prospects. But I think this kid out of Iowa is going to be a monster as well. So he was one of the lead leaguers last year in tackles in the nation. But yeah, and then right on out is Alex Mastromano out of FSU. But anyways, our games to watch this weekend as we have some big games coming up here. Starting with the first one, we got number 7 Notre Dame. Yeah, I got to start with my team, Notre Dame, going against Texas A&M. And if I'm not mistaken, this may be in Kyle Field in College Station.
It is. It's at College Station.
Yeah, the 12th man. So they got
to be there. Corso's going to be ready. Yeah,
Corso's going to be ready. They all going to be ready.
One there for both A&M and Notre Dame.
It's gonna be something, man. So right now Notre Dame is the favorite. The line is right now A&M is actually the favorite.
I think they got the 3 points.
Yeah, the line is 3. Because they're playing at home. But I'm really interested to see this Notre Dame team with Riley Leonard under center, because I think these guys, when it comes down to it, I think these guys can be able to be effective. I think a little bit more effective with Riley Leonard, in my opinion. And last year, I'm not saying that Sam Hartman wasn't bad. Sam Hartman was good. I mean, I just think Riley Leonard might be just slightly better, in my opinion, in terms of getting outside the pocket, creating with his feet, and also his arm. And then you have Jeremiah Love, Darian Price running the rock, toting the rock for Notre Dame. And then at wide receiver, you got Chris Mitchell, Bo Collins, Jaden Grayhouse. I mean, Notre Dame has a decent offense, but I think defensively, his offense is probably a little bit better than defensively. This offense is probably one of the best, secondaries in college football. One of the best defenses, in my opinion, in college football. They both guys, man. RJ Oben, they both guys. Jordan Botello. They boast some decent, especially Oben. He's a guy that can get after. Howard Cross is another guy. Riley Mills is another guy. I mean, we talked about Xavier Watts. We talked about Van Morrison. Those guys are probably going to be playing at the next level. So I mean, this is a team that And then when it comes to A&M, on the other side, A&M's is a much improved team as well. And they have a brand new coach, right? So Mike Elko is actually, Mike Elko is Riley Leonard's old ball coach at Duke. So this is going to be a hell of a game in my opinion in College Station. I can't wait to see it. I think Notre Dame, in my opinion, I think Notre Dame pulls it out, but it's going to be a tough one. It's going to be a tough one in my opinion, Matt.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, College Station is one of the most electric, most difficult places to go play in, no matter who you are. I mean, as we mentioned, game day is going to be there. First game of the year, you got Notre Dame coming in. Um, two really good defenses. And yeah, I got Notre Dame taking this one to kind of, kickstart a year where they need to start off strong, go into a tough environment against an SEC team. And as you mentioned, they got a new coach. I mean, Notre Dame's not an easy squad. They got one of the best, defenses, especially on paper. Several guys on both first and second team all American preseason right now. So
Right.
they're filled. So I'm going to take Notre Dame. This is going to be a fun one to watch in a, back and forth defensive struggle battle.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I think this is gonna be a hell of a battle in this game. I got Notre Dame winning actually by 3 points as well. Instead of A&M winning by the 3 points. Next game we got on the slate, we got the number 19 Miami Hurricanes going up against the in-state rival, the Florida Gators. And I believe this one is on the road in Ben Hill Griffin Stadium in Gainesville.
You,
Miami's a 2.5 point favorite right now on ESPN bets. How do you see this one playing out down there in Gainesville?
I mean,
Miami boasts one of the better quarterbacks too in the nation, in Cam Ward. Just putting that out.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, this is going to be a tough one for Miami. Playing during the middle of the day in Gainesville. I mean, Miami's used to, the weather and stuff in Florida, all
Right.
that. I mean, it's another, great environment for college football there in Gainesville at the Swamp. I'm going to take Miami to squeak this one out towards the end of the game. Just the more talented team, better quarterback. And I'm going to take Miami by one score in this one.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think I got Miami as well. Cam Ward at quarterback. He's one of the best quarterbacks in the nation, or supposedly, out of the ACC. And then they got the uh, Oregon State transfer and Damian Martinez at running back. He's a stud as well. So I really like the team, and I think Florida is one of those teams that's I want to say it's still kind of finding their footing. Under Billy Napier. They still, they have. I believe they lost ETN. I forget what ETN. Where did ETN go? Did he go to? Can't remember what school. Trevor ETN went to. I believe it had to be Georgia or It's just
Yeah, it was
it
Georgia.
was Georgia.
Yeah.
Yeah. Trevor Etienne, yeah, he's in Georgia right now. So yeah, so I mean, he was a guy that was a big part of their a big part of their offensive system. So just putting it out there that it's a building, it's a kind of a building thing. So yeah, give me Miami, by a touchdown as well in this game. And then to round out, we got the Sunday game, number 23 USC going up against number 13 LSU and Harold Perkins, linebacker that was on the Prime Sports World All American list. How do you see that one playing out? I believe that's a neutral site game. It might be a neutral site game. It's a Sunday game, and it might be a neutral site game. I'll tell you where they're playing.
Vegas,
They're playing in Vegas, Allegiant Stadium, in the Modelo Vegas Kickoff Classic. How you see that one playing out, man?
Both teams year one without their stud quarterbacks.
Right. Exactly.
Caleb and Jaden Daniels.
Your guy.
Last year in the NFL draft. So both teams are going with new quarterbacks in this year.
Miller Moss is going to be a great talent, though. Miller Moss is a great talent. He sat behind Caleb last year. He's a junior quarterback. I expect Miller Moss to have a good season as well. Defensively, this team has some work to cut out, but another guy, Zachariah Branch, is another guy from USC that I think is going to be a hell of a player as well. They did lose their big like I said, they did lose what's his name? He's on the Packers now. The running back. God, Lee. He's killing me. The kid out of US, out of South Carolina. He transferred. It's Marshawn. It's killing me, Matt. You got to help me out here. My brain. It's too many players. He got drafted. He got drafted by the Green Bay Packers. He's the backup now to Josh Jacobs now, but they lost him to the draft. But they still got Big Bear Alexander there in the middle, one of the best DTs in the nation for USC, and then on the LSU side.
Marshawn Lloyd.
There we go. Oh, thank you. And then on the other side, LSU, like you said, going without Jaden Daniels. We all know that Brian Kelly, is going to still, have that offense on point. They bring in a guy, Garrett Nussmeier. He's going to be probably their starting quarterback this year, or is their starting quarterback this year. And I mean, this team's going to take, this team is built defensively, in my opinion. I think they're deep, offensively as well at the wide receiver position. We still got CJ Daniels, still got Kyron Lacey there, both seniors stepping it up after Malik Neighbors and who's the other wide receiver that went to Jacksonville or Godly. It's killing me right now. But they follow up on those two guys, wide receivers from LSU. So
Brian
Thomas. Yeah, I was gonna say Thomas. But give me LSU to win this football game. I think USC, yes, they're going to have more of the home crowd because it's close to Vegas. It's pretty much a home game for them. You're going to have a lot of LA folks coming into Vegas. But I like LSU's defense travels, and that defense is going to travel and win. And then shameless plug for Christian, Notre Dame, Texas A&M. Check that out on the Daily Blitz.blog. And then he's paying attention to Texas and Colorado State, and I think Michigan and Fresno State as well. So you guys don't want to miss that hot content that Christian brings. And then we got the game of the week. We got number 14, Clemson, going. I think this is another neutral site game as well. Oh, no, yeah, this is at the Mercedes. This is the Aflac kickoff. This is in the Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta, Georgia. We got Cade Klubnik versus Carson Beck, along with that great defense that we just talked about with Georgia. How do you see this one playing out? In tomorrow at 11 a.m. Sheesh, golly, that's an early game. I would have thought this game would have been at night on primetime,
or at least a 2:30 or 3:30 kickoff or something.
Yeah, man,
like that SEC right in the middle of the day.
Jesus, man. That is SEC shit.
I'm taking Georgia. I mean, every time I think they're gonna, slip and fall in this type of game, they just go out and annihilate whoever they're playing. I mean, Clemson always brings in a stellar defense. I mean, you got Dabo. He's gonna, bring it early. But I mean, Carson Beck in Georgia. I
Mhm.
mean, they're gonna avenge their, loss last year to, I believe they lost to Washington, right? Or Michigan.
Uh,
I forget whoever they lost to. I mean, both were great teams themselves, obviously. But I mean, Georgia probably in my national championship right now. After falling short last year, you don't want to, mess with them right now. I mean,
I
they
think Georgia. I think who they
another
lose. They lost to Alabama.
last year.
Yeah, it was the SEC championship game, right?
That's
They beat
right.
them
They lost to
27
Bama
to
and didn't make
24.
it.
Yeah.
That's right.
hmm They beat
Either way,
Georgia 27-24 in the
um,
SEC championship game. Broke Georgia's 29-game win streak last year, and Georgia didn't get into the college football
the
playoff. What a freaking shame! First of all,
oh,
um,
um, Nick Saban's last call there.
because who made the national championship? It was
That was
Michigan,
Washington
Washington,
and Michigan. Yep.
Georgia. But it was Michigan, Washington. The top four was Michigan, Washington,
Bama.
Texas, and Bama.
Yep.
And Texas, Washington played a hell of a game, and
Mhm.
Michigan and Bama pretty much was the national championship in my opinion.
Yeah.
So,
But
but
nonetheless,
yeah,
I think I don't even know the spread, but it's fairly
the
comfortable.
spread
Georgia,
is
type of
is
game, and
is
I have
very
them
comfortable
covering.
for Georgia. 11 and a half point favorites
I have them
in this
covering.
game. You have Georgia covering. I definitely have Georgia covering. This is a different era. I don't think Dabo's had a tough time adjusting to the NIL stuff, just like Nick Saban kind of did, as well. Even though Nick Saban, made the college football playoff last year, but K. Klubnik is supposed to be one of the best quarterbacks in the nation as well. Um, and then also, I mean, when I look at Clemson, look, this is a team that is going to do great things in the ACC, but against number one Georgia, who I mean had one hiccup, they lost by 3 points to Alabama in the SEC championship game. Georgia, I think this year is out for blood. Um, so watch out. If Clemson is going to have a chance, they're going to have to run the football well, which I don't think they have a shot. But Phil Mafas, another is a guy to watch out for. Antonio Williams, Tyler Brown as well. Those are guys to watch out for Clemson in the secondary. But yeah, Kay Klubnik's really gonna have to play a perfect game in this game.
Yeah.
In order to prevail against Georgia's vaunted defense. But hey, Clemson has pretty solid defense as well. Barrett Carter, one of the best linebackers in the nation. He's on that team as well for Clemson. So we'll see. But I like Georgia covering that spread. I got Georgia by 2 touchdowns, winning that football game this
Yeah.
season. Yeah. And then our last game, the upset of the week, I got West Virginia
Yep.
over Penn State. If there is any time, Penn State's only favored by 7.5 points. It is in Morgantown, which is going to be a tough 30. That place is going to be on their edge. That place is going to be going crazy for Penn State. It's going to be a beautiful day for Penn State. But I think that when it comes down to it, I think that this is a trap game, like we all say, right? Penn State, they're boasting, Drew Aller, the best in, probably one of the best running back duos, and Nicholas Singleton and Katron Allen in this football game. And then going up against West Virginia, I mean, not that great of a team in my. I mean, they're an average team in my opinion out of the Big 12. Garrett Green is one of the better quarterbacks out of the Big 12 for West Virginia. But I just think if there's a chance, this is going to be a high-scoring game, in my opinion, probably 50, 60 points. I got West Virginia pulling it out at home. If we're going to bet right now, I'm taking the points for West Virginia 7.5 points, plus 7.5. Absolutely.
You took my upset of the week. I had West Virginia when I saw this. I mean, I have them surprising some people this year, making a run in the Big 12. I don't think they're going to win it by any means, but they're going to be a tough team to beat this season overall. But, I mean, going into Morgantown's not easy either, and I think they go in, take care of business. And, yeah, I do think it's going to be a track meet. Last one to, be able to score and get the ball at the end.
I definitely think it's going to be a track meet. I think West Virginia is gonna go up and down the field against Penn State. But West Virginia is gonna have a tough time trying to contain those two running backs and the play action passing of Drew Allen. So that's that. But anyways, folks, that's been the first episode of the season for College Football Showdown. Please like, share, and subscribe to the podcast here at Prime Sports World. And in case you missed it, you can catch us on all streaming platforms where podcasts can be heard. But please like, share, and subscribe on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch as well. And then catch us on pswmg.com. I'll drop the link later to our website here for all the up-to-date content from Prime Sports World. But I'm your host, Israel Rivera. That's Matt James. We had Christian Swimson from the Daily Blitz.blog on here earlier. Please catch his previews here on the Daily Blitz.blog. And Matt, it's been a great night. And as I like to sign off, in case I missed you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Ladies and gentlemen, sayonara, suckers.
All right. Have a safe weekend, guys.